The moment my stepbrother went blind, I flew back home to fight for the family fortune. But I was failing, time and time again. So, to test if he could secretly see, I did the most logical thing. I hired 10 gorgeous women to do a line dance in front of him. He didn't even blink. That's when my best friend told me to try walking around naked to test him. He's still your brother, even if he's a stepbrother, she said. If he's really blind and sees his stepsister naked without reacting, he's not just blind, he's a psycho. It wasn't until I was taking a shower and forgot my pajamas, forcing me to strut naked through the living room, that I got my answer. My stepbrother, sitting on the couch, didn't move a muscle, but a certain part of him quietly pitched a tent. Oh, crap. He wasn't blind. And he was a total psycho. After Paul Hamilton got into a car accident and lost his sight, I booked the first flight home. The second my plane touched down, I posted on my socials. OMG, you guys, I've been waiting for this day. From now on, you can call me Stella 2.0. A bright future. Here I come. My best friend, Chloe, commented instantly. Your brother's blind, Stella, not dead. I replied with a nose-picking emoji. Same diff. After all, who else was qualified to inherit the massive Hamilton family fortune besides me and Paul? No one. Just me, the stepdaughter. But 2 months had passed, and I hadn't managed to get my hands on a single dime. This was impossible. How could a blind man possibly fend me off? Last week, I snuck a stock transfer agreement into a pile of documents and was guiding his hand to sign it when he accidentally knocked over his teacup. Yesterday, I tried to use his phone to transfer some cash, but his Face ID was disabled, and it required a passcode. Who even uses a passcode for payments these days? My phone vibrated. A message from Chloe. Babe, I did another tarot reading for you. On the screen was a picture of the death card. What's that supposed to mean? That I should help him meet his maker? I was getting excited. It means you should probably quit while you're ahead. I scoffed and tossed my phone aside. Quit? You've got to be kidding me. The year I turned 18, my mom gave the shares that were supposed to be mine to Paul to manage for me. Her explanation? Stella, honey, I had someone read your chart. You were born with hands that can't hold on to money. It's better to let your brother manage it for you. What kind of scam artist did she consult? Wasn't that just child abuse? Do you know how hard these past few years have been? To prove my business acumen, I set up a stall selling stationery in elementary school and lost $3,000. In middle school, I started a side hustle reselling makeup and lost $20,000. In college, I played the stock market and lost every single penny. But this time was different. Paul was blind. If I couldn't outsmart him now, I was doomed to be a nobody for the rest of my life. Stella. Footsteps echoed from the second floor as Paul slowly made his way down, cane in hand. I immediately switched into my sweet, concerned voice. Paul, do you need help? He stopped on the last step, his vacant eyes looking straight at me. No, I've counted the steps. I rolled my eyes internally. Who has time to count stairs? Only him. By the way, you'll be attending next month's board meeting in my place. My heart leaped. I couldn't believe it. Really? Don't you want my seat? It's never going to happen, but I can at least let you have a taste of it. A double meaning. That blind jerk was definitely mocking me. I thought back to a few months ago when my mom called me, sobbing, to tell me Paul had been in an accident and was blind. I was so happy I jumped on the table and started hooting like a monkey. Another message popped up on my phone. It was Chloe. You know your brother is a devious, manipulative bastard. What if he's faking it? A shiver went down my spine. Could he be? But I'd seen it with my own eyes. Right after he went blind, he missed a step on the stairs. If he hadn't grabbed me in a panic, he would have tumbled all the way down. He looked so pathetic. There was no way he could have faked that. But Chloe had a point. I needed to test him one more time. If he was faking, I'd book the next flight out of here. If he was really blind, then that family fortune was mine for the taking. I watched his assistant, Joe, pick him up for a follow-up appointment. Then I sent Joe a 1,000 red envelope payment on my phone. Mr. Joe, please let me know the results of my brother's checkup as soon as you have them. Doctors don't lie. And now that he'd taken my money, Joe should know Paul's time was up and who he needed to suck up to next. Sure enough, a moment later, Joe replied. Of course, Ms. Reed. I love dealing with smart people. They know which way the wind is blowing. I asked Chloe to find me 10 gorgeous women. Chloe, are you serious? Going this big? Me, how else am I supposed to know if he's faking? She was silent for 3 seconds. Fine, but don't kill your brother in the process. Get your mind out of the gutter. The next morning, Mr. Hamilton, who was vacationing in Europe with my mom, sent a kind message. Stella, how's your brother doing? Thank you so much for taking care of him. Your mom and I will bring you back a gift. Immediately after, a message from my mom popped up. Stella Reed. I'm broke right now. If you need spending money, ask your brother. Don't ask me, I don't have any. My mouth twitched. Ugh, a hopeless romantic and a total cheapskate. That's my mom, all right. Last night, I asked her for 100 grand to buy a bag, and she asked what kind of bag could possibly cost that much. I sent her a picture of the latest designer python bag, and she messaged back. Are you buying a giant snakeskin duffel bag to dispose of a body? Just then, the doorbell rang. Standing at the door were 10 beautiful women of all shapes and sizes, exuding every kind of charm. My eyes went wide. Chloe's efficiency was off the charts. I greeted them with a huge, welcoming smile. My grin must have been a little too bright, because they all took a step back, looking at me warily. The woman in the lead frowned. Ms. Chloe said we were just coming here to dance. I patted my chest. Don't worry, we're all friends here. Just dancing, nothing else. They looked skeptical. One of them didn't believe me and had already turned to leave. I quickly shouted. I'll pay double. They spun back around, their smiles sweet as honey. Okay, boss, what dance would you like? I pulled up the playlist I had prepared on my phone and hit play. Some ridiculously catchy pop song. The women? I've gotten really into line dancing lately, but I can't seem to learn. You guys have to teach me. They all nodded in understanding. Got it. Pros are pros for a reason. The second the music started, all 10 of them were in the zone. Splits, hip twists, handkerchief waves, their movements were perfectly synchronized, like something out of the Super Bowl halftime show. I jumped in, trying to copy their moves, but my eyes were glued to Paul on the couch. He had zero reaction. After 10 rounds, I collapsed on the floor, panting. Paul, what do you think? How was my dancing? Paul's gaze was empty, his tone regretful. I'm sure it was wonderful, it's a shame I can't see it. Is he really blind? The ladies dancing had my own blood pumping, and he didn't react at all? That night, I excitedly called Chloe. It's confirmed. Paul is really blind. After hearing about my line dancing beauty's plan, Chloe was silent for 3 seconds before saying, very slowly. Not folk dancing, not pole dancing, not even a striptease. How did you manage to bypass so many options and land on line dancing? What man gets turned on by line dancing? Me. What's wrong with it? Every time I see people line dancing in the park, I find it fascinating. You don't see cool dances like that overseas. Okay, new plan. Why don't you test him yourself? He's still your brother. If he's really blind and sees you naked without reacting, he's not just blind, he's a psycho. That's extreme. I started to have second thoughts. Truth be told, there was another reason I went abroad. The year I was a senior in high school, Paul got a girlfriend. He was 3 years older than me, and we lived under the same roof, seeing each other every day. He was so handsome he could have been a movie star. I'm not a saint. At 17, 18, you're right at that age of budding romance. After dreaming about Paul for 2 weeks straight, I finally realized it. I had feelings for him. Improper ones. Just as I was secretly planning to confess to him after graduation. Anna showed up. That day, I answered the door in my crayon Shin-chan pajamas. A curvy girl stood outside. She looked me up and down and let out a little laugh. You must be Paul's sister, right? You really are just a kid. I looked down at my flat chest, then at her E-cups, and was instantly mortified. Who are you? I asked. She ruffled my hair affectionately. From now on, you can call me your sister-in-law. Those 2 words, sister-in-law, crushed all my secret hopes. The day I left for college abroad, Paul came to see me off. He carried my luggage, his brow slightly furrowed. Do you really have to go? My nose stung. I couldn't win the family fortune, and I couldn't have the man. What was I supposed to stay for? To watch him live his perfect life? To be the awkward third wheel? I'm not that pathetic. For 3 years abroad, I fantasized about returning as Stella 2.0, ready to take back everything that was mine. But reality was cruel. On his social feed, not only was Paul's career booming, but he'd also started working out like a madman. Obviously to keep up with Anna. Those abs were killing me. A buttoned-up, ascetic CEO by day, and a gym selfie poster by night. A new pic every single day, rain or shine. He completely ruined my standards. I didn't manage to date a single guy while I was abroad. Once you've gotten used to a masterpiece, you can't settle for less. Thinking of Anna, a thought suddenly struck me. Paul was blind. Why wasn't she here taking care of him? Why did my mom insist I come back and be his free caregiver? I opened my chat with Zhou, his assistant. Mr. Zhou, about my brother's eyes, what did the doctor say? Is there any hope? A blood clot is pressing on his optic nerve. For now, Ms. Reed, don't be too sad. You never know, it might suddenly get better one day. My lips nearly curled into a smile. Sad? Why would I be sad? By the way, with my brother in this state, how come Ms. Anna hasn't come to visit? It took Zhou a while to reply. Ms. Anna? Oh. Are you referring to your cousin-in-law, Ms. Reed? Cousin-in-law? My brain felt like it had been hit with a hammer. I had to dig deep into the recesses of my memory to pull out a name. Paul's cousin, Mark? The long-lost nephew of Mr. Hamilton? He and Anna were married? So when she said sister-in-law, she really meant sister-in-law. Just, my cousin-in-law. My heart started beating uncontrollably fast. But soon, that little spark of joy died down. Even if Anna was my cousin-in-law, who's to say Paul hadn't dated anyone else in the past 3 years? I had seen it all from abroad. The headlines were everywhere. Paul Hamilton parties with supermodel, Paul Hamilton's 3-hour tryst at luxury hotel, billionaire heir private pics leaked. They were all blurry photos, but where there's smoke, there's fire. Humph, men. He certainly wasn't depriving himself before he went blind. Good for him, going blind. Men only slow me down. My goal is money. Get money. Get money. Get money. My vacation only has a month left. If I can't pull this off, I'll probably have to go back overseas with my eyes wide open in my grave. Chloe's crazy idea. Maybe, it's not totally out of the question. That night, I gave all the house staff the night off. The bathroom was filled with steam. I stood in front of the mirror and took a deep breath. Paul. I forgot my pajamas, can you grab them for me? Outside the door, the tap-tap-tap of his cane grew closer. Paul stopped at the bathroom door, his voice low. But I don't know where your pajamas are. And I can't see. A perfectly reasonable refusal. But today, I had to see this through to the end. I steeled myself and threw the door open. Right. Well, since you can't see anyway, I'll just get them myself. I stood face to face with Paul. He stared straight ahead, his breathing perfectly even. I stared into his pupils and waved my hand in front of his face. No reaction. I let out a small sigh of relief. Looks like he's really. But just then, my gaze drifted downward. And I saw that, at some point, a tent had been pitched in Paul's pants. My brain exploded. My world came crashing down. Paul wasn't blind. And he was a total psycho. I immediately covered myself up high and low. You can see. Paul looked blankly in my direction, his brow furrowed. See what? Dr. Martin just did a follow-up. He said it's the same as always. He paused, his voice tinged with helplessness. Stella, you didn't actually come out without any clothes on, did you? Even though I can't see, for a girl to do that, it's a little bit psycho, don't you think? He's calling me psycho. He looked so calm and composed. If it weren't for the proud erection still standing at attention, I might have started to doubt myself. But Dr. Martin was a top specialist, and Joe had taken my money, so he had no reason to lie to me. Could it be that I really misunderstood? I grabbed a towel and wrapped it around myself. When I looked up again, Paul was already making his way back to his room with his cane. But that retreating figure. Why did it look like he was fleeing in disgrace? I thought it over and decided to tell Chloe about the bathroom test. Is it possible that your brother is just naturally well endowed? Chloe sent a winking emoji. You could compare it to how he usually is. See if there's a size difference. Me, good point. If he really saw me, with my killer body, he wouldn't even flinch? No way. Chloe, by the way, Ryan found out you're back. He's looking for you. Ryan. The name made me want to gag. He was the heartthrob of my high school, tall and handsome, and he even looked a little like Paul. On graduation day, he cornered me in the classroom and confessed his feelings. I was bewitched. Looking at that familiar face, I actually said yes. Until that party, when he found out I was going abroad and drugged my drink. I was groggy as he carried me to a hotel. When I woke up, Paul was standing in the room with a complicated expression on his face. I thought he was there to bust me. Later, I went looking for Ryan to settle the score, but I heard he'd already had both his legs broken and ended up in the hospital, almost losing his third leg too. I scoffed. What? Is he looking to get it broken again? Chloe, he said, he wants to tell you the truth about what happened back then. The truth? After Paul brought me home from the hotel that day, he didn't say a word. Instead, he locked himself in his room for a full day and night. I thought he was disgusted with me and never wanted to see me again. So I packed my bags that very night and fled the country. Could there be some hidden story I didn't know? After much hesitation, I unblocked Ryan. A message immediately popped up. Ryan, Stella. Is that you? I cut right to the chase. You said you'd tell me the truth. What truth? The typing bubble appeared and disappeared for a full 3 minutes. Ryan, drugging you back then was wrong, but I just want to know, were you with me because of my face, or did you ever actually like me? I remained silent. Ryan, let's meet. I'll tell you everything. He sent me the address of a coffee shop. At the shop, Ryan was already waiting. When he saw me, his eyes visibly lit up. I sat down impatiently. You have 10 minutes. I'm in a hurry. He gave a bitter smile. Stella, you're still as beautiful as ever. I stared at him coldly. Get to the point. Ryan took a deep breath. That night, I didn't actually do anything to you. I knew you were going abroad, and I was scared of losing you, so I stupidly drugged you, but after I brought you to the hotel, your brother burst in. He beat the crap out of me and asked if I had touched you, then, He went into the room himself. I froze, my blood turning to ice. Are you saying it was Paul who was with me that night? Didn't he only show up in the morning? Ryan let out a derisive laugh, his eyes filled with a complex emotion. Stella, you've always been in love with your brother, haven't you? I admitted it freely. Yes, I love him. But you're brother and sister. We're not related by blood. What kind of brother and sister is that? I sneered. And you, making up a story like this, what are you trying to achieve? Ryan's lips twisted into a sarcastic smile. But if your brother really liked you, why would he say nothing afterward and just watch you leave the country? Stella, he's no different from me. He was just playing with you. I picked up my coffee and threw it in his face, then turned to leave. Ryan, you're not even worthy of being compared to him. My heart felt like it was being squeezed by a giant hand, the pain making me tremble. The truth was, I wasn't completely without memory of that night. I remember clinging to a warm body like ivy, crying and begging him to kiss me, to hold me. Sobbing brother over and over again. He didn't deny it, but he held my face, his voice hoarse and restrained. Look closely. Who am I? The drug blurred my vision. How could I tell what was real? But the most powerful craving in my heart had only one name. Paul Hamilton. I panted, biting his Adam's apple. You're Paul Hamilton. And then everything spiraled out of control. I tore at his clothes, left bite marks on his chest, even tied his wrists with his own tie and straddled his waist, forcing him to moan. That night was wilder than any dream. Sitting in my car, I was stunned for a long time. If what Ryan said was true, why didn't he tell me? After thinking for a moment, I called Joe. Joe, what's my brother doing? Mr. Hamilton is in a meeting. A meeting? How does a blind person attend a meeting? Can he even see the reports? I hung up and tried to calm myself down. Since he didn't want to talk about it, it must have just been a one-sided assault on my part. In that case, I'll just pretend I don't know either. I have to get one of them, the man or the money. I drove to the office. While waiting for the elevator, I overheard a beautiful woman asking the receptionist a question. Is Mr. Hamilton in? The receptionist smiled. Mr. Hamilton is in a meeting. May I ask who you are? I'm his girlfriend. My last name is Wright, Bella Wright. Bella Wright? The blurry woman from the tabloid photos? We rode the elevator up to the 66th floor together. She sized me up, her gaze lingering on my face for a moment before becoming strangely meaningful. Ms. Reed? I suppressed the sour feeling in my heart and gave a faint nod. Hello. She walked straight toward Paul's office. His executive assistant walked toward us, looking startled when he saw us. Ms. Reed, what are you doing here? Mr. Hamilton is busy. I ground my teeth as I watched Bella's retreating back. Why can she be here and I can't? Where's my brother? Busy? Busy with what? My mind immediately went to the gutter. I bypassed him and pushed open the office door. Only to see Bella standing next to Paul, pouring him a glass of water. Oh, so I'm just early. The show hasn't started yet? Paul looked up. Joe quickly explained. Mr. Hamilton, it's Ms. Reed, your sister. I shot him a glare. Did you have to emphasize the sister part? Bella let out a small laugh. She handed the glass of water to Paul, but he skillfully avoided her touch as he took it. Looking at the handsome couple, I felt a wave of jealousy. No wonder he came to the office even though he's blind. He was playing out some office fantasy. Paul, Stella, what are you doing here? I forced a fake smile. Paul, Chloe's brother started a talent agency, and I want to invest some money. How much? So willing. A jolt of joy went through me. 2 million. Paul, no. Bella couldn't hold back her laughter. I was so angry I could feel smoke coming out of my ears. I snatched the glass of water from Paul's hand and chugged it down. Fine, don't give it to me. I can live without the money, but I can't lose face. I couldn't just walk away looking pathetic without even getting a sip of water. Fuming, I turned to leave. Just as I stepped out of the office, a voice called out from behind me. Ms. Reed. It was Bella. She quickly caught up to me. Can I have a minute of your time? What is it? I snapped, already plotting how to make a voodoo doll of her when I got home. Yes. She smiled faintly and got straight to the point. Are you in love with your brother? My heart skipped a beat, but I forced myself to stay calm. No, I don't like him. How could I like that cheapskate? He wouldn't give you a penny. You don't? Oh, that's too bad. I thought. She sighed regretfully. Thought what? I guess it's just a one-sided crush from Mr. Hamilton, then. I froze. What do you mean? Bella looked me over. Do you see any difference between us? Difference? I finally took a good look at her. The more I looked, the more shocked I was. We looked so much alike. No, not naturally alike. She had intentionally copied my style, even her makeup mimicked the curve of my eyebrows, turning a 3/10 resemblance into a solid 5/10. My heart raced as if I had stumbled upon some earth-shattering secret. Why, do you look so much like me? Are you my dad's illegitimate daughter or something? She laughed. Hasn't Ms. Reed considered any other possibilities? It can't be my mom's, can it? She face-palmed. I'm your dupe. All those tabloid photos online? Mr. Hamilton had me release them on purpose. It was all to make you misunderstand. I was completely floored. What did you say? Bella pulled me into the restroom and locked the door. Honestly, I've got my eye on some broke college kid lately, but Mr. Hamilton won't terminate my contract, so I can't take on any side gigs. There's nothing between us. If you don't believe me, we can switch clothes, and you can go test him yourself. I was skeptical. Why do we have to switch clothes? She rolled her eyes. A blind man is just blind, but his hands can still feel. I'm wearing a dress today, and you're wearing pants. He'll know the difference in a second. We quickly swapped outfits, and she sprayed me with her perfume. There, now his sense of smell will be fooled too. Remember to pitch your voice a little higher, but our voices are pretty similar anyway. Otherwise, I wouldn't have beaten the competition for this $50,000 a month gig. The rest is up to you. Good luck. She gave my shoulder a confident pat and slipped away. I stood in front of Paul's office, my heart pounding. When I pushed the door open, he was on the phone, listening to a report. After he hung up, Paul turned his head slightly. Why are you back? I slowly approached, pitching my voice higher. I suddenly didn't want to leave. I wanted to keep you company. He flinched, then let out a soft chuckle and gestured for me to come closer. The moment I was near, Paul suddenly pulled me onto his lap. Keep me company? Like this? And then he tilted my chin up and kissed me, hard. My pupils dilated in shock. Is this how Paul usually treated Bella? Disgusting. No wonder he paid her so much. It included these kinds of services. I was breathless from the kiss, my arms wrapped around his neck as I melted into his embrace. Bella, you feel a little thinner. His hand measured my waist, the heat of his palm sending a shiver through me. A very prominent object was pressing against me. I instinctively shifted my hips, and Paul let out a muffled groan. Bella, don't move. It dawned on me, and my mouth went dry. This seemed even more impressive than what I'd glimpsed last night. Taking advantage of his blindness, I decided to test just how far he and Bella had gone. I deliberately unbuttoned his shirt and lightly bit his collarbone. Paul, do you like it when I do this? He tilted his head back slightly, his Adam's apple bobbing, his voice dark. Do you like it, Bella? Do I like it? I spent my years abroad drooling over your workout pics. What do you think? My hand slid downward, my nails accidentally grazing a nipple, making him suck in a sharp breath. I finally stopped at his belt buckle. Why isn't he stopping me? Could it be that he and Bella have already? I gritted my teeth in frustration. What kind of dupe was she? A dupe that gets to go all the way to the bedroom? Bella, why did you stop? His breathing was ragged. I steeled myself, my trembling hand unbuckling his belt and reaching inside. NGH. I was so nervous my scalp tingled. Chloe was right, Paul was definitely well endowed. His low gasps exploded next to my ear, and my hand started to go limp. But he paid no attention. I scrambled to my feet, my words tumbling out. I have something to do, I have to go. And with that, I fled, completely missing the dark, intense gaze that followed me out the door. Once outside, I smacked my forehead in frustration. I was supposed to be going after his money, how did I almost end up going after the man instead? Just then, Chloe called. Jenna from our class is getting married tomorrow in Aspen. Want to go together? I thought about it. I was pretty close with our class president back in high school. A trip to clear my head sounded like a good idea, so I agreed. I called Paul to let him know I wouldn't be home that night. Is something wrong? Why did he sound like he was afraid I wasn't coming back? Me, a friend's wedding. I'm going to the ceremony. He just told me to be safe and hung up. The next second, I got a notification for a $20,000 transfer from Joe. Ms. Reed, Mr. Hamilton said to have a good time. Fine, whoever gives me money is my sugar daddy. Chloe and I went to Aspen together. After checking into the hotel, she insisted on dragging me to a new restaurant her brother had just opened. Chloe's brother's biggest hobby was making money by opening restaurants. If he liked a certain cuisine, he would invest in a restaurant for it. Thanks to her, I'd already mooched my way through several of them. Chloe took me to a place called Riverview Pavilion. The decor was elegant, with a touch of Right Nan charm. A waiter led us to a private room. Chloe waved her hand grandly and ordered one of everything on the menu. I looked at the mountain of food, unable to stop her. How are we going to eat all of this? We'll get the leftovers to go. She grinned. My brother happens to be in Aspen on a business trip. I'll bring him some warmth, and maybe squeeze some extra allowance out of him. I twitched my lips. You really are the model sister. She winked at me. I'm the biological child, my parents' assets are already sorted out. Not like you, the wild one, where all the money is in your brother's hands. But Stella, maybe you should try a different approach? Like what? I mumbled, my mouth full. You're not going to trick him out of the finances. So why not, while he's blind, conquer the man himself? Once you've sealed the deal, you can get him to happily hand over his paycheck. Isn't that the perfect plan? Ahem. I choked, my face turning bright red. What should I do? Thinking about what Bella said, I was actually a little tempted. Chloe was a seasoned veteran of Reddit romance forums. In the blink of an eye, she'd listed out a half-dozen schemes for me. They included, but were not limited to, tying him up so I could play the hero who rescues him. Or abandoning the blind man in the wilderness while I pretended to be a succubus and drained him dry. My mouth twitched. But even if he's blind, he's still stronger than me. And, I'm scared of ghosts. Chloe threw up her hands. Well, what then? If you don't make a move, you can't expect him to, can you? Expect him to make a move? My eyes suddenly lit up. That might actually be possible. Chloe keenly sensed my change in mood. Did something happen between you two that I don't know about? I guiltily buried my face in my drink. Later, when I slipped out to use the restroom, I passed a private room and heard a familiar voice from inside. Paul, how long are you going to keep up this act? Yeah. I said hi to you back in the city, and you just pretended to be blind. It's been long enough. When are you going to announce you're cured? Your rivals are getting restless. Paul's voice was steady. This is the perfect opportunity to clean out the rats in the company. But Paul, you were really reckless last time. If that car had been going any faster, it wouldn't have just been your eyes. Thankfully, the blood clot in your brain dissolved. You can finally see again. You were willing to risk your life just to trick Stella into coming back. I froze on the spot. Through the crack in the door, I saw Paul's eyes, clear and bright, a gentle smile on his lips. As long as Stella comes back, I'd do anything. He called me Stella. In the office, he was doing it on purpose. You're insane. That was a limited edition sports car worth $5 million. If you didn't want it, you could have given it to me. He deliberately got into a car accident just to trick me into coming home? No wonder, I always remembered him as a slow, careful driver. Paul, you've done so much. When are you going to come clean to your sister? Paul took a sip of wine, his tone dejected. She's been avoiding me. When did I ever avoid him? The year I graduated, wasn't he the one who locked himself in his room for a day and a night? A memory flashed. The day I woke up in that hotel bed, the first thing I said to him was, "Brother, I'm so sorry." I felt guilty for staying out all night, making him search for me. And he thought I was trying to get out of taking responsibility. So he hid himself away. Learning the truth, I was a mix of furious and heartbroken. Tears welled up in my eyes. When I returned to our room, Chloe saw my expression and leaned in. What's wrong? Did you see a ghost? I ground my teeth. I just saw Paul. Not only is he not blind, he's perfectly fine. Oh, and by the way, your brother was with him. She froze. My brother knew Paul was faking? And he didn't tell me? Chloe instantly went ballistic, grabbing her phone to call and confront him, but I stopped her. If she called now, it would expose the fact that I knew Paul could see. He likes tricking me? Fine, I'll trick him right back. After dinner, Chloe had the leftovers packed up and waved her hand dismissively. Send it to the Holt Corporation. Isn't that your brother's rival company? Serves him right for lying to me. I happen to see Ethan Holt is here on business too. I'll send it to him and piss my brother off. He keeps secrets from his own sister. I'm going to tell my dad to redistribute the company's shares. I don't want this brother anymore. Still not satisfied, she personally took a cab to deliver the care package, even posting on her social feed before she left. Delivering a little love to a certain hard-working boss on his business trip. The picture attached, a special heart-shaped care package of leftovers. I suppressed a laugh, then thought of the accomplice, Joe, and angrily texted him 3 words. You traitor. Joe replied instantly. Ms. Reed, what did I do? I couldn't be bothered to reply. I had Chloe find out which hotel Paul was staying at. As fate would have it, he was in the same one as us. We were in room 901, he was in 1901. That evening, Chloe still hadn't returned, but a call from her brother, Ben, came through first. Stella, is Chloe with you? He asked anxiously. Why did I see her taking food to Ethan Holt? Is that Holt guy any good? He's always got his eyes glued to Chloe. She's practically serving herself up to the wolf. I sighed. Ben, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you tell Chloe that Ethan was gay? After high school graduation, Ethan was always taking Chloe out, treating her so well that even I wondered if they were the real siblings. Until one time, Chloe, blushing, told her brother she might have feelings for Ethan. Ben completely lost it. That guy is 5 years older than you. And he likes men. Are you trying to humiliate yourself? That one sentence made Chloe cry her eyes out and swear off love, choosing instead to focus on money and pleasure. Turns out, it was all a lie fabricated by Ben. The other end of the line went silent. I was just trying to protect her. She had just graduated high school, and Ethan was already taking over his family's company. The Holt family was a mess back then, a total quagmire. I sighed again. Ben, Chloe knows her own feelings better than anyone. She was just delivering some food today to get back at you. But this city isn't that big. Can you really keep Ethan away from her forever? There was a long silence on the other end, finally broken by a bitter laugh. Stella, you're right, I was too extreme. When Chloe gets back, I'll have a proper talk with her. But still, what did I do to piss off that little princess this time? Why is she so mad at me? I let out a cold laugh into the phone. Ben, you should think long and hard about that. I have important business to attend to. After hanging up, I changed into a carefully selected black lace nightgown, threw on a coat, and snuck up to the 19th floor. Standing in front of room 1901, I knocked lightly. Paul's voice came from inside. Who is it? I didn't answer, just kept knocking. The door soon opened. I took my chance and threw myself into his arms. He had just showered, his body still damp, the collar of his robe slightly open, revealing a firm chest. Paul. It's me, Bella. I deliberately pitched my voice higher. I thought I saw you in the hotel earlier. I wasn't sure if my eyes were playing tricks on me. I heard there's a thunderstorm tonight. I was worried you'd be scared, so I came to keep you company. Aren't you touched? The body in my arms stiffened. Is that, Bella? I nodded, taking the opportunity to nuzzle against his chest. Who else would it be? Paul dazedly put his arms around me. What are you doing here? I'm fine on my own. Maybe you should. But aren't I your girlfriend? I looked up pitifully, my lips brushing against his Adam's apple. Are you going to kick me out? His Adam's apple bobbed. I took my chance and pushed him into the room, shutting the door behind me. Paul, are you all alone? Paul fumbled along the wall, and I deliberately stood in his path and let my coat fall to the floor. The black nightgown traced my curves, the lace hinting at what was underneath. His hand managed to avoid me, his acting seamless. I sneered internally. How had I never noticed all these coincidences before? Paul, do you need me to help you? I pretended to support him, but accidentally tripped, sending us both tumbling onto the bed. The position, me on top, him on the bottom. Something below quietly awakened, pressing against my thigh. I feigned ignorance and rubbed against it. What's this? Bella, get up. His voice was tight. Just then, a flash of lightning lit up the sky, and the room plunged into darkness. The power went out. In the dark, I could feel two burning eyes fixed on me. I took the opportunity to hug him tightly. Paul, I'm so scared. The atmosphere turned thick with desire. Seeing that he didn't push me away, my hands snaked down and closed around the source of the heat, my teeth gently nibbling his earlobe. Paul. I kissed him clumsily, teasing him, our bodies growing hotter. Another flash of lightning. I clearly saw his eyes staring straight at me, brimming with a lust so intense it felt like it could devour me. Paul, want to try something different? I coaxed him, grabbing a nearby belt and tying his hands firmly to the headboard. Paul cooperatively flexed his wrists. Is this what you want to play, Bella? I bit down on his chest. Yeah. Do you like it? A dark, hoarse gasp escaped his throat. I like it. Like it? Then I'd better help him relive it. Just how I devoured him all those years ago. In the morning, I propped myself up on my aching back and shakily climbed off of Paul. The moment my feet touched the floor, my legs gave out, and I almost collapsed. Bella, untie me. His voice was raspy, laced with a hint of seduction. I slowly picked up my clothes and let out a soft laugh. Bella? Bro, which Bella are you talking about? The expression on Paul's face froze. Those eyes, which had been so blank, finally focused on my face. I got dressed and leaned over, patting his cheek. Bro, the summer after high school graduation, you used me and shipped me off abroad. And now you've gone to all this trouble to trick me into coming back. I've satisfied you. What else do you want to play? Let's get it all out in the open. After we're done, I'm never coming back. He panicked, struggling to sit up, but his hands and feet were tied fast. Stella. Let me explain. Back then, I thought you hated me, that's why I couldn't face you. I wasn't completely lying. My eyes really were blind for a while. I cut him off coldly. Paul Hamilton, you have a mouth, can't you use it? Did you have to resort to this soap opera act? Did you ever stop to think what would happen to me if something really went wrong with you? The more I spoke, the angrier I got. I sat on the edge of the bed and gave his chest a hard pinch. He let out a muffled grunt and arched his back slightly. My face flushed. Was this guy on something? After a whole night, he's still got this much energy? Perfect. Since you're not afraid of dying, is your will written? Remember to leave all your money to me. Once I get the money, I'll marry one guy, keep 10 on the side, and come sleep on your coffin every night. And when the mood strikes, I'll play with all 11 of them at once. Paul's eyes darkened. You wouldn't dare. I smiled sweetly. Watch me. With that, I bundled up all his clothes and strutted out of the room. I couldn't wait to see the look on Joe's face when he came to deliver clothes and found Paul tied up naked on the bed. At the wedding reception, I was looking around for Chloe when she ran over, whispering like a thief. You didn't come back last night? You didn't come back last night? We both spoke at the same time, then stared at each other. Chloe covered her blushing face, her eyes shining. Stella. Do you think a guy who was gay can turn straight again? I immediately understood. Ethan. I went to deliver the food yesterday and accidentally spilled coffee on him. When I went to wipe it off, I found out he. So I tested the waters, and he's actually straight. I was about to say something when my attention was caught by a group of people entering the reception. Paul, Ben, and a few other familiar faces. They were at the wedding too. Paul spotted me immediately and walked straight over. I nudged Chloe. Who did Jenna marry? Chloe froze. I glanced at the welcome sign. I think his name was Nate. Wait. It's not that Nate from my brother's circle, is it? I gestured with my chin towards Ben. Looks like it. What a coincidence. Paul stood in front of me, trying to look endearing. Stella, Chloe immediately cut in with a sarcastic tone. Well, Mr. Hamilton, congratulations on regaining your sight. Stella, you can relax now. Your brother's not blind, so you can go back abroad in peace. I nodded in agreement. Paul was so anxious he started sweating. Stella, it's all my fault. Do whatever you want to me. But can you please just give me a chance to explain? I love you, I have for a long time. Chloe, who had produced a handful of sunflower seeds from somewhere, started cracking them loudly. Don't mind me. Please continue, Mr. Hamilton. I was afraid you'd think I was a psycho, that's why I never dared. Chloe, crunch, crunch, crunch. Aren't you, though? Stella was standing right in front of you, naked, and you managed to control yourself. I quickly reached over to cover her mouth. Paul's ears turned bright red. Thankfully, Ben came over and dragged her away. I breathed a sigh of relief. About Bella, Paul quickly explained. I swear nothing happened between us. I hired her to act. I was going to say, Bella is here too. Not far away, Bella was hanging on the arm of a handsome young college student, feeding him melon seeds. The look in her eyes was like she was about to eat him alive. We'll deal with your mess later. I waved my hand. The ceremony is about to start. Go back to your seat. Throughout the entire ceremony, Paul's gaze was fixed on our table, his eyes full of longing. Chloe's eyes were red-rimmed. She had clearly figured out the truth and was now agonizing over whether to make that 3 years late confession. If you want to go, then go. I nudged her. Weren't you the one who encouraged me? If you have something to say, say it. Don't be like me and my brother. She whispered, have you forgiven him? It's not about forgiveness. I looked at Paul. But I love him. That's never changed. During the bouquet toss, the flowers, as if by fate, landed right in Paul's arms. He took the bouquet and strode towards me, getting down on one knee. Stella, I love you. Marry me. The whole room erupted in cheers. I plucked a single flower from the bouquet and twirled it in my fingers. Marrying you requires some thought, but I suppose I could be your girlfriend. A couple of weeks later, my mom and Mr. Hamilton came back from their trip. The moment they walked in, they saw me sitting comfortably on Paul's lap, waiting for him to feed me a cherry. They both froze in place. You too? I scrambled off his lap and scurried to the other end of the couch. Paul, however, remained perfectly calm. Mom, I love Stella. We're together now. I hope you'll give us your blessing. My mom pointed a trembling finger at me. Really? I nodded meekly. She suddenly slapped Mr. Hamilton's thigh, hard. Honey. I've failed your family. Our daughter and I have completely ruined you both. Mr. Hamilton winced in pain but managed to force a comforting smile. It's okay, at least Paul is willing. It's better than Stella ruining some other family, and at least with Paul's earning power, he can keep up with her spending habits. My mom's eyes lit up. You're right. I was so worried about who could possibly support her crazy spending. But now it's solved. It's all in the family. I can finally get a good night's sleep. Epilogue. One day, curled up in Paul's arms, I suddenly remembered something and grabbed his phone. Those pics on your feed, I'm deleting them. So flashy. Only I should get to see them. I expertly typed in my birthday as the password and went to his social feed to begin the Great Purge. But as I scrolled to the bottom, I discovered something. All those sizzling pics were set to visible to me only. I held up the phone and glared at him. Paul Hamilton. You've been plotting this for a long time, haven't you? Were you fishing for me? He let out a low chuckle and kissed my lips. Well, did the fish take the bait?